8:39 p.m. on a Friday night. Most people my age are in the club. I'm in here talking about Peacemaker. Let's go. Hey everyone, today I'm recording from the set of Avengers Doomsday. I had an all-access pass and, oh look, I think I see RDJ back there. Today we're talking about Peacemaker Season 2, a very decent season of television. At least for the first 7 episodes, but we're gonna talk about more in detail. So obviously there are gonna be a bunch of spoilers. I don't know why you would click a review for a show that you haven't watched already, because that's just kind of fucking weird. I don't know. Peacemaker Season 2 once again follows the story of Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker, played by John Cena, as he struggles with both his own self-worth and the need to be accepted by others. After a night filled with drugs and partying, he stumbles across a door to a separate Earth which is just like his, except with some major changes. For one, his brother who is dead in his Earth is alive, and his father isn't Gavin Conop. And of course, with this being a James Gunn project, there's a lot of weird and fucked up things that occur, and we get a bunch of new and wacky characters. I really like Season 2 as a whole. I think its highs are a lot higher than Season 1, but its lows are also a lot lower than Season 1, which I think works for a weird little dichotomy there. I really like a lot of the performances this season, particularly from John Cena and Danielle Brooks. Danielle Brooks is a very underrated part of the Peacemaker series, and I think Adebayo, the character she plays, is the heart of the group. Episode 8 has garnered a lot of mixed reactions, and I can completely understand why. You spend the whole season hyping up this parallel Earth, Earth X, you know, the Nazi Earth, kick, you know. The plot-centric things kind of all end off in episode 7, while episode 8 just acts as this almost extended epilogue of just cleaning up whatever loose ends are left, but it kind of doesn't. It really takes the time to open up even more questions, and that's kind of strange to me because from how things look, there is no confirmed Season 3 at the moment, so a lot of these things might just be answered in other shows or movies, and that kind of sucks. For instance, if Peacemaker is going to be trapped in Salvation, then I would much rather that be resolved within the Peacemaker show instead of that carrying over into Man of Tomorrow. Like, I can understand that this is all a cinematic universe and that you always want to build up to other things, but I don't want this show to just end up being homework or like required watching for a future project, because that's exactly the same trap the MCU became. People aren't disliking this episode because it wasn't filled with cameos. People dislike it because they wanted a complete story that had a payoff, and the payoff here just felt very underwhelming. Another part about Season 2 that just didn't really mesh well with me is James Gunn's writing style itself. Now, I think he's a really talented filmmaker. He's able to tell stories with these tragic and broken characters, and he can turn it into something that's emotionally compelling, and I think that's really awesome. But at the same time, he does tend to fall into the same writing tropes. He's a guy that really enjoys lowbrow, raunchy humor, and I really think that bleeds into Peacemaker the most out of any of the projects he's had. What I'm gonna say probably won't make any sense. I'm gonna try my best to explain it the best way I know how to, okay? PG-13 James Gunn is a lot better than rated R James Gunn. Now let me explain. Now, I feel like if he's working within a certain limitation, i.e. if it's notes from a studio or just having to aim for a certain target audience, I think his writing really excels, and that's how we get projects like Superman and like the Guardians trilogy. But when he's in a situation where he feels like he can just do whatever the fuck he wants, he'll really go out there and his writing becomes a bit more self-indulged, and you'll have scenes like this one I always point back to in Season 1 of Peacemaker, where we have John and Economos just going on a whole diatribe about ants.
We're looking for a helmet. Why do I care if you saw ants?
Because the circle of life, bro.
What do ants have to do with the circle of life?
They're one of the most important parts of it.
How are ants a more important part of the circle of life than, like, fish?
Is that a serious question?
What?
There are shitloads of ants. How many fish are there?
I don't know, but probably as many as there are ants.
Not in one place at the same time, dude.
Okay, I'm as confused.
It just goes on and on and on, and it's so unfunny, and it just feels like we're dragging out the runtime. What I think kills a lot of shows like these and other shows on streaming services is that Number one, they come out once every 3 years, and then after the wait, you guys end up getting only 8 episodes of content. Now, granted, like these episodes are longer, like they average around 40 minutes, give or take, but the issue that, when it comes to pacing is that you need to find out a way to segment content for each episode in order to make it flow and to make the story you're telling really feel coherent. And a lot of shows really fail at that. Instead of maybe one more episode dedicated to the Earth X plotline, the main thing that they built up all this time, we instead get an episode of like 2 or 3 musical drops, montages of other Earths, and with this just very weird song choice. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was, James Gunn. I just felt so deflated when I got to this episode, and not in the way of, oh yeah, like this really just emotionally drained me. More so in the way of, is this it? After 3 years of waiting, this is what we got? I will say it wasn't all bad. I do enjoy the bookend of the romance between Harcourt and Chris. I think they're finally a thing now, so that's good. I'm glad that's established and we can move forward with something else in the future. Overall, I think Season 2 was a decent watch with a lot of great acting and a lot of cool set pieces, but it just didn't quite hit the landing. But in spite of it all, I think you should definitely check it out if you haven't already. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.